You have everything anyone could dream of, and yet you spend millions of dollars to buy land in one of the most remote places on Earth. Imagine being a world-famous filmmaker like James Cameron, the creator of Titanic and Avatar, leaving Hollywood behind to live on a distant island in the Pacific Ocean. That's exactly what's happening today. The world's richest and most famous people are racing to secure a ticket to survival in New Zealand. Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal and an early investor in Facebook, spent millions of dollars to obtain New Zealand citizenship, even though he stayed in the country for only 12 days. Hundreds of Silicon Valley elites are building underground bunkers there, equipped with the latest survival technologies. But why? What makes these remote islands at the edge of the world safer than the most powerful nations on Earth? Today, we'll uncover the secrets of New Zealand, a nation that has ranked among the most peaceful countries on the planet for over 15 consecutive years and has become the ultimate refuge for the wealthy preparing for the end of the world. You'll discover how a country about the size of the United Kingdom, but with fewer people than London alone, has become one of the safest places on Earth. Geographical isolation, the most secure location on the planet. The first secret behind New Zealand's safety lies in its extraordinary geography. Look at a world map. You'll find it deep in the South Pacific, a forgotten land at the end of the earth, and that's not an exaggeration. New Zealand is one of the most isolated inhabited countries in the world. It's 2,000 kilometers from Australia, 7,000 from Chile, 10,000 from California, and 19,000 from Europe. Any military force trying to reach it would need to cross thousands of kilometers of ocean, making any surprise attack nearly impossible. But isolation isn't just about distance. New Zealand consists of two main islands surrounded by more than 700 smaller ones, forming a natural maze of land and water. Its terrain itself is a fortress. The Southern Alps rising to 3,724 meters, active volcanoes, deep fjords, and dense forests. Even if an invader reached its shores, the rugged terrain would slow them down and make any advance extremely costly. This isolation proved its power during the COVID-19 pandemic. While much of the world was sinking into chaos, New Zealand closed its borders swiftly and controlled the virus almost completely. The result? Fewer than 3,000 deaths in New Zealand compared to over 1 million in the United States. Experts call it the island advantage, the ability to fully control what enters and leaves the country. Political stability, a democracy without chaos. While much of the world faces political turmoil, coups, and civil wars, New Zealand seems to live in a parallel universe of calm and order. It ranks number 1 in global peace since 2008, number 1 in anti-corruption, and number 2 in political stability, second only to Singapore. How did it achieve that? Through a unique political system called mixed-member proportional representation, where every vote counts and all voices are heard in Parliament. This reduces polarization and forces parties to cooperate instead of clash. The population itself reflects this harmony. About 70% of European descent, 17% Maori, 15% Asian, and 8% Pacific Islander, all coexisting peacefully. When the Christchurch terrorist attack struck in 2019, the country didn't fall apart. It united under Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, sending a powerful message against hate. New Zealand has long been a pioneer of social progress. The first country to grant women the right to vote in 1893, the first to appoint a female Governor General, and the first to have all top positions, Prime Minister, Governor General, and Chief Justice, held by women at the same time. Such progress builds a stable and cohesive society. Self-sufficiency, an island that feeds the world. Here lies the third secret behind New Zealand's strength, its incredible self-reliance. Imagine a nation the size of the UK but with just 5.2 million people, yet it produces enough food to feed 40 million? That's 8 times its own population. 10 million cows, 26 million sheep, more than 5 animals for every person. Fonterra, the New Zealand dairy giant, is the world's largest exporter of dairy products. Agriculture accounts for 70% of all exports, so even if global supply chains collapse, New Zealand could feed itself for years. 85% of its electricity comes from renewable energy, 60% hydropower, 17% geothermal, 5% wind. That makes it one of the world's greenest and most sustainable nations. Its nature is an endless resource. Glaciers for fresh water, rainforests for timber, vast coastlines for fish, and fertile lands for year-round farming, a diversity that guarantees survival even in the harshest times. Smart defense, the strategy of passive protection. How does a country with just 15,000 soldiers defend itself? With a strategy known as passive defense. Instead of maintaining a massive army, New Zealand relies on natural and political factors that make attacking it pointless. Its isolation means any invader would need a huge navy and long, vulnerable supply lines, an impossible and costly task. It's also protected by powerful alliances, the ANZUS Pact with Australia and the United States, and the Five Eyes intelligence network. Attacking New Zealand would mean facing global superpowers. It also follows a peaceful, neutral foreign policy. It declared itself a nuclear-free zone in 1987 and contributes to peacekeeping missions worldwide. In short, it poses no threat to anyone, and no one sees it as a target. The strategy is simple but brilliant. Make attacking you too expensive to be worth it, and be a useful ally instead of a potential enemy. That's why New Zealand hasn't seen war on its soil since the Maori conflicts of the 19th century. The Billionaire Refuge, why the rich flee to the end of the world. Now the big question, why are billionaires racing to the edge of the world? Peter Thiel, worth $7 billion, spent millions to get citizenship after only 12 days in the country. James Cameron moved there permanently. Neil Blomkamp, director of District 9, did the same. Hundreds of hedge fund managers and tech founders are building luxury bunkers across New Zealand. They know something the public doesn't. They know the global system is fragile. They know pandemics, nuclear wars, economic collapse, and climate disasters aren't fantasies. They're possibilities, and they're preparing. The investor visa program requires at least 1.8 million US dollars, or $6 million for faster residency. It's already brought in more than $8 billion in investment. In 2021, the government eased property restrictions for the wealthy, triggering a new wave of golden migration. But these billionaires aren't just buying mansions, they're building underground fortresses with air and water filtration, long-term generators, massive food reserves, advanced communications, and private helicopter pads. These aren't homes. They're survival castles for a collapsing world. Culture and identity, the power of soft strength. What truly makes New Zealand special isn't just its geography or economy, it's its culture, a blend of ancient Maori tradition and modern Western innovation. This fusion created a strong national identity that resists division and extremism. The Maori, who arrived over 700 years ago, built a culture centered on nature, ancestors, and community. Their language, Te Reo Maori, is official, and many place names, like Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud, come from it. The traditional war dance, the haka performed by the All Blacks rugby team before every game, has become a global symbol of unity and pride. It captures the spirit of the New Zealand people, strong, proud, and fearless. The country's breathtaking landscapes inspired the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies, drawing millions of tourists and billions in revenue. This film tourism boosted New Zealand's soft power and made it a dream destination. It's also a land of innovation, from the first powered flight in 1903 to the electric refrigerator, organ transplant techniques, and even bungee jumping, a creative spirit that keeps it ready for the future. Hidden challenges. Is paradise at risk? But paradise isn't perfect. Behind the peaceful image, real challenges exist. Isolation, while protective, makes living costs sky high. Flights are long and expensive, and the over 24 hours to Europe, and imported goods cost a fortune. Young people struggle to afford homes as prices soar. The economy depends heavily on two trade partners. China takes 28% of exports and Australia 21%. Any tension with either could hurt deeply. Climate change brings rising seas, stronger storms, and shifting rainfall, threatening agriculture, the backbone of the economy. And the influx of wealthy foreigners is creating social tension. Locals feel their country is being sold off. Is New Zealand the future? So? Is New Zealand truly the last safe haven? Can this paradise endure in a world growing more unstable by the day? New Zealand offers a vision of the future, sustainable, self-sufficient, peaceful, and fair. It proves that solutions exist: renewable energy, social harmony, smart governance, and respect for nature. But can other nations follow this path? Or is New Zealand's success tied to unique geography and history that can't be copied? One thing is certain: New Zealand has become a symbol of hope in a chaotic world. It shows that paradise on earth is possible, even if it lies at the end of the world. And maybe that's why the rich are so obsessed with it. Not just because it's safe, but because it represents a vision of a better future. One we could all build if we learn the right lessons from this small, distant island. In the end, New Zealand reminds us of a simple truth. Real security doesn't come from armies or money, but from building a just, sustainable, and compassionate society, a lesson the entire world needs now more than ever.